Welcome to this webinar on respecting our frontline workers, especially the medical and the police force. I feel this webinar is the need of the hour, especially at times like this when the frontline workers are putting their lives at risk and doing their duty day in and day out. With non-stop working hours, their family anxious about their own safety. And if we are not going to respect them, and in fact, if we are going to be violent towards them, then it definitely demotivates them and also makes them feel that what is the use of this duty that I'm doing, that the very people for whom I'm doing this duty are not neither appreciating it and nor respecting it. And that's why Rekha Sahani, who's one of our panelists, suggested that we do this webinar. And so here we are, and we have 4 excellent panelists. Let me introduce you to all of them. We have first Dr. R.K. Anand. He's a senior pediatrician, fellow Royal College of Physicians, and former medical director of Jasloke Hospital and Research Center. And he's also the founder trustee of Public Concern for Governance Trust. Sir, to me, you are one of the best pediatricians this country has. And welcome on this webinar. We are all eagerly waiting to hear your point of view also. So welcome, sir.
Thank you so much.
Our next panelist is Dr. Saloni Pahwa. She's a consulting pediatrician, research assistant at Johns Hopkins School of Children's Medicine. Saloni, this is the first time I am interacting with you, but I have heard such good things about your work that I'm sure the points that you will give out today will be a huge sense of relief both to parents and teachers.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Dr. Arvinder Singh Singhal is one of my favorites. Not that the others are not, but he holds a special place in my heart because he also runs this company which is so focused on health initiatives. So he's the co-founder and CEO of Fitterfly Health Tech Venture. And right now, I think the need of the hour is for us to have more of these ed tech, health tech ventures because we are all at home. And Dr. Arvinder, we are going to look forward to hearing what all we can use from your health tech venture.
Sure. Thank you.
Our last and most adorable panelist is Rekha Sahani.
Hi, everybody.
She's former principal, Kamla High School, diplomatic secretary, ECA APER, and is an integral part of the PCGT Trust, which is the Public Concern for Governance Trust. And she does some amazing work both with teachers and the police force. Welcome, Rekha.
Thank you, Swati. Thanks a lot.
And I forgot to mention that Dr. Arvinder is also the Vice President of the Early Childhood Association of India. And we must now invite Dr. Anand also to become a Vice President. The format of the panel is very simple. We want the doctors to get more opportunities to speak. So I will be asking each one of them a question and they will be given ample time of 3 minutes to answer each question. And then based on your answers, I will eke out more queries as they keep coming. To the listeners out there, to the audience, if you have a question, please go to your Q&A link on your computer or mobile phone, which is seen in front of you. Type your question and also type who you want to address this question to so that I can read it out to the panelists. So we will be having a very short Q&A session at the end. We will also be sharing a write-up about this webinar in which the contact details of all the doctors and panelists will also be shared with everybody so that you can reach out to them individually. My first question goes out to Dr. Anand. Dr. Anand, I have read about your work and you believe more in prevention. So how do you suggest for the prevention of assault on doctors, nurses and police as is being reported in the media? What are the prevention strategies that you suggest?
See, for any prevention of assault, violence, 2 words are very essential. Communication, very essential. and compassion. In fact, we can all learn from coronavirus about karuna, which in Hindi means compassion,
Right.
sharing the pain of someone. And I think both these are very important to avoid misunderstandings, violence, anger, etc. And for that, all of us have to cooperate. Doctors, nurses, police, public, and media. Now, talking about communication, I learned from my teachers that the best way to learn communication and to communicate with your patient is to listen more and encourage them to speak and clarify all their doubts, problems, anxieties, worries, etc. So for that reason, I keep in my consulting room on my table this gadget.
Oh, lovely.
This is facing the parents so that they are encouraged to speak and ask as many questions as they want. And on my side is listen.
Oh, this is so amazing.
So whenever I'm tempted to interrupt them, I'm told, foolish guy, listen. Let them say what they want to ask you before you open your mouth. So this I find very helpful. And now I give you an example of the importance of this communication. When I was medical director of Jasrok Hospital, a press reporter came to meet me along with the husband of a woman. And there was allegation that one of our doctors had sexually harassed this woman. It was a serious matter. So I inquired fully, and it turned out to be that this lady had suddenly developed weakness on one side of her body. So she was rushed to the casualty of Jasrok Hospital. There, a doctor examined her, a male doctor, in presence of a female nurse. And it was also reported that the mother-in-law was also watching from behind the curtains. Now, because it was a neurological case of the nervous system, you have to examine the nervous system. For that, certain jerks have to be elicited, the knee jerk and the jerks related to the abdomen. Now, the lady had complained that this doctor lifted my sari and touched my abdomen. Now, to test the knee jerk, you have to lift the sari up to the knee, take a hammer and just put it and hit it behind, just below the knee, and see the movement of the legs. So similarly, you have to lift the sari a little, the side, to examine the abdomen. So when we explained this to this media person and the husband, they understood why it was essential, and good protocol was used where a female nurse was also present, and that explanation satisfied. There was no violence and nothing was reported in the press. So that is why I say the importance of communication. As far as compassion is concerned, maybe I can say later, let others share their point of view.
Thank you so much. I think I'm going to make that same thing, speak and listen, and put it on my table. Because, you know, when we have so many multiple things happening, we tend to listen less and we tend to interrupt people because we want to move on to the next task. But this is such an important thing that you have given all of us today. Thank you so much, Dr. Anand. Dr. Arvinder, my next question is to you. You run multiple hospitals. So how has the corona pandemic affected your hospitals and your patients?
So the biggest thing which has happened, Dr. Swati, is that we have now no elective surgeries or common problems which can wait treatment. We are asking the parents and the patients to wait for that. typically for my specialty, a lot of kids come from outside the state or outside India. So obviously they cannot travel. And with children, the strange thing is that even if the children are getting coronavirus, they're not getting very severely affected. A lot of them are becoming carriers.
Okay.
And also when parents travel with their children, they often meet a lot of people on the way. Transport is a difficult situation. So I would say in our hospital, almost 90% of the OPD visits are down now. And also the surgeries are down by 95%. And staff is also very, very scared to come to the hospital. And government agencies had a lot of, initially we had a lot of trouble, though the government said that the private hospital attendants can also travel by local transport. But these local transport guys were actually not allowing the private hospital employees to travel by the government buses. So actually we had to file complaint with the commissioner to get a permission for the people to travel. But what I'm finding is a lot of these people who are hospital workers, their families are not allowing them to come to the hospital.
Yeah.
Because hospital becomes a very high risk zone for them. So we had a lot of difficulty. Then the cost of treatment also goes up because you have to give them a lot of gear around sanitizers. The masks have become very expensive. The personal gear has become expensive. From that perspective, I think at healthcare, just like education, the government has passed a directive not to increase the fees. Similarly, we are also facing a lot of challenges. But I think this is a bad time for everyone.
I know.
So
Yes.
everybody will adjust.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was always wondering that what must be going through these family members of these medical professionals, because you are constantly under stress.
Yep.
Yes, the PPE kits are also going down, and I know a lot of NGOs who are helping the doctors by making those PPE kits. A good friend of ours, Ravi Santlani, is also making and distributing them all over Jaipur. So these are the initiatives that are, I think, required right now. And,
but one of the good things which have happened, Dr. Swati, just to touch upon that, a lot of teleconsultations are starting now.
Yes.
Now we are suddenly realizing that we were making the patients travel for something which can be done using technology.
Exactly.
Now, I used to run a company which was into teleconsultations 5 years back, and we really struggled. And now everybody wants to do that.
Now you can make it a hit. Okay. Before I ask my next question, I have a request to all of you all, because I'm feeling a little embarrassed being with real doctors. Please don't call me doctor, because I feel very fake right now on this panel. Because and I always feel when somebody does a PhD, there should be some other term to be used than a doctor, because we are of no help when somebody gets a heart attack. So I go to my next question, which is to Rekha. Rekha, you work with schools and with the police. You have even involved my husband in your police work. Thank you for that.
I've involved everybody.
I know. And we've seen many instances of disrespect and brutality towards police personnel. What advice would you give to teachers and parents on how to create more respect towards our police in the children, so that at least the next generation grows up understanding that corona or no corona, these are the people who are actually doing a public service and they are important in our lives. So what advice would you give?
Thank you, Swati. I have only one advice to all of us, and that advice is just obey the law. The thing is that we as adults are not obeying law. Our children are seeing that, and that's where the disrespect comes. And the children automatically feel that we can just do what we want, And your school is in a one-way zone. My school is in a one-way zone. And we see parents entering that because it's early in the morning.
Yes.
And children accept that as a way of life. They see parents and teachers included. I would say I have seen my own teachers entering a no entry in the morning saying, "Ye next building mein to hi jana hai." When children are observing this, they are seeing this, they are disrespecting not only law and the people who are looking after the law also. And the police is doing their duty. And we have to understand that it's not their job to see that we don't enter a no entry.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
our job to see that we follow the red light. And these are the same families and kids who go abroad and follow all the law. Even at 12 midnight, they are waiting because the signal is red. I just wish we understand that, and the respect law, and everything is final. And it starts from this small thing. So when I see them disrespecting the police now, but I feel that now they're showing more of compassion and love. And I hope that it becomes a movement, and we as educators, as parents, as teachers, just follow that, That's my only request to everybody. Follow the law. Everything follows that after that.
I think that's exactly a very valid point, Rekha, because if you see most of these instances of brutality against the police were because the public don't want to follow the law. And I must really admire the police force in many areas. They are even singing to entertain the public.
You have to see that.
Yeah,
You have to see that.
I got a viral video of Zindagi Maut Na Ban Jaye, Sambhalo Yaro.
But even in Punjab, Bari Barsi has become so.
Yes,
you have to see.
Yes,
that's right.
Absolutely. So,
Sorry.
The police are going out of their way beyond their call of duty. And I think what you said is very right, that it's up to us to now please follow rules. It's as simple as that, So,
and one more, Swati, one more thing, request.
Yeah.
My request is that where we take our children out for, police work, dekhne ka, wo dekhne ka, we have to speak to our children in our day-to-day life about these people and how we can respect them, It'll make a lot of difference.
Absolutely. I think I would urge all schools that when they plan their curriculum and they talk about community helpers, they must include doctors and police and a sense of respect towards them, and not just talk about what tools each one uses, because that's usually done in kindergarten. You teach them what are the tools that a postman uses and what are the tools a doctor uses. I think we need to go beyond that from this experience and now include respect about following rules that laid down by the police force or the medical community. So I think this is something that curriculums must include now. Dr. Saloni, my question is to you. Do you think that, so I have a two-part question for you. A, do you think that children are going through anxiety and stress during this lockdown and pandemic? And two, what advice would you give to parents for reducing this stress and anxiety?
Yes, thank you for the question. So most definitely children do experience stress when the situation changes outside. People feel like children don't understand what's going on, but that's not the case with children. They might not be able to express to you what they're feeling, but they definitely have a sense of something is wrong, something is amiss, something around me doesn't feel safe anymore. This can manifest as increased temper tantrums, a child becoming more clingy, cranky, or more withdrawn, or a change in regular activity, or something even more anatomical, like a change in bowel bladder habits. So we've had complaints of children who started bedwetting. We've had complaints of children who've had a complete toss in appetite. Bowel habits have changed, sleep habits have changed, and this is all related to what is going on around them. So when they feel a sense of something's amiss, and they can't communicate that to you, then that manifests as physical symptoms. So most definitely, yes, children are facing this as well. I think there are a couple of things parents can do to make the situation easier for children. Now, the first and foremost thing is that this is a time where they're just looking for more love, more affection, and a sense of safety in these testing times from their parents. So, I would urge parents to not get irritated with kids if they're throwing a temper tantrum. Try and listen to them and understand what they're trying to communicate to you, and reassure them in a positive way. Speak to them kindly and use positive words to explain what is happening around us. Another thing that parents can do, which will help a lot, is try and set some kind of routine for the child. So either try and stick to a regular routine or set a new one, which includes schoolwork, but also includes time for recreation and play, where the family is coming together and, there's a sense of normalcy because you're just, chilling with each other and like having fun together. So there's specific time allotted in the day to do that. It gives children a sense of belonging. It gives them a sense of happiness and safety at the same time. Another thing that is very important is that provide facts. Explain to them what is happening in words and in a language that they can understand. So definitely limit exposure to the news, because there is a lot of morbid news around us and that might affect them negatively. But don't lie to them or hide things that are going on, because children understand more than we can imagine. So explain to them in a positive, kind, reassuring way what is happening. Give them a sense of security, saying we can overcome this, we'll do this together. These are the important things we are supposed to do, like by staying home, staying safe, respecting the people who are, out there working for us, saying thank you to everybody who's helping us. And things like this make them part of a community. they feel like they're part of something that's bigger than them, that's positive, that's going to have a good outcome, and it gives them a sense of safety and reduces their anxiety as well.
That's wonderful. Yeah, I fully agree with you. Routine is something I think that has gone haywire during this pandemic and lockdown. I myself used to sleep by 10:30. I'm now sleeping at 2 o'clock, and I struggle to then wake up in the morning and time. I don't know, my whole sleep cycle has gone haywire. Routine is something paramount that we need to understand, that children's brains feel more secure when they are in a routine. So that's a very wonderful point that you have made. I'm going to go back to Dr. Anand now. Dr. Anand, how should parents seek advice during this time from when the family doctor is closed? Can you give us one or two examples that have helped your patients?
Swati ji, before that, I said I'll talk about compassion later. So
Yes.
if you could allow me that.
Yes, please go ahead.
Right. You see, we are talking about compassion as far as the doctors are concerned, police is concerned, very important. They are risking their life for our sake. But at the same time, I think the police as well as the doctors also need to have compassion on others. And one of my students, she became head of the Department of Pediatrics at the Sion Hospital and retired from there. And on her mobile phone, she had a signature tune. किसी की मुस्कुराहटों पे हो निसार, किसी का दर्द मिल सके तो ले उधार, किसी के वास्ते हो तेरे दिल में प्यार, जीना इसी का नाम है. Now, she is one, I have seen her, how compassionate she is when children or their parents come to see her. And I think the whole world needs it. For example, now we read about what happened in Muradabad recently.
Yeah.
The doctor had gone there because a person who was corona positive had died. So they went to the family to make sure that the others are not infected, and so save the community around them. A rumor went around that these doctors are coming to pick up these people from the minority community and put them up in the detention camp. And they threw stones on them, hurting some of those who had come to help.
Dr. Agarwal was hurt. Yes.
And when the police came to help the doctors, they even smashed the windows of the car of the police. So now, how to avoid that? This we learned from Mr. Ribeiro and Mr. Satish Sahni and a social worker called Sushobha Barve. When 26 years ago, after the mosque at Ayodhya was demolished, there was riots in Mumbai. There was a sense of insecurity among the Muslim community. So Sushobha Barve, who was associated with moral rearmament, now called Initiative of Change, she sensed this insecurity in a particular community. She went there. She met some of the opinion makers there who were very fine people. And then she introduced Mr. Ribeiro to them, whom people trusted. He was a retired police commissioner, a senior person with a lot of credibility, and they listened to him. And then the trust was built between the police. And at that time, a very fine police commissioner, Mr. Satish Sahni, was there. So Mr. Ribeiro and Sushobha Barve met Mr. Satish Sahni, and together they thought of this idea that let us give leadership to the community itself. Let them select the right leaders from among them, apolitical leaders. And then they, along with the local police, in that community form what they call a Mohalla committee. Similarly, all over the city, such mohalla committees were developed who were in touch now with the local police. And whenever there was any doubt that there may be trouble, they all joined together and ensure that the fire doesn't break. So I
Right.
think again, we have to anticipate. So maybe in this case, like Muradabad, supposing the police would have alerted the doctors that this is a sensitive issue. Let's first go there and meet with some of the people there to tell them why you people are going to come there. And that's why I'm so glad the government has now sent a circular to all the states that whenever doctors go for such a work, make sure the police is there to support them. At the
Yes.
same time, get in touch with the local leaders and the peace committees there, the way the Mohalla committees was started. So that's
True.
what I'm saying, that the compassion is needed and anticipation of need is needed from all the angles.
Right. Right.
Now
Right.
coming to a question about what to do when your clinic is closed. Well, what I do, I give to all my patients this small booklet, स्वस्थ जीवन, स्वस्थ रहने के 5 उपाय और छोटी मोटी बीमारियों का कैसे इलाज करना. So whenever there is a trouble, the child is not well, they just read this, and most of the time these are minor things and they settle down. Otherwise, they know that we can contact Dr. Anand. For example, when there is a cough and cold, they know that in this booklet it's mentioned that honey and lime juice can be taken. For the nose, if nose is blocked, cough will get worse. So they can make a saline nose drops which they can put in the nose. But at the same time, the mother can ring you. It happened. The mother rings, doctor, I did all that, but child is coughing more so when the child is sleeping. Then I said, how old is the child? About 1 year. I said, in that case, you do one thing, at night put the child on the stomach, because even if the nose is slightly blocked, the water instead of coming in front is falling behind into the throat, and nature doesn't want it to go to the lung, so the child coughs. So put the child on the stomach. The cough will be less. Why I said if the child is 1 year? Because below 6 years, we should never put the child on the stomach. It is not safe at all. So now this way we could help her. But at the same time, I warned her, supposing things get worse, you are becoming anxious, and especially if the child's breathing is very fast, rapid breathing. In that case, you take a photograph and send me through the WhatsApp to my man who helps me in the kitchen at home. I don't have WhatsApp, but he has it, Ram Singh. And he does that for me and then shows me. And then I go back to them to say what to do. So similarly, sometime back, there was a mother who was anxious that there is a severe rash around the buttocks in my child. So what did I do? I said, okay, take a photograph, send me through Ram Singh. It is WhatsApp. And I saw it was obvious. It was all over where the disposable diaper was. And I am against disposable diapers in general.
Same
So I
here.
said, now stop this disposable diaper, keep the part dry, exposed to air whenever possible, and just apply coconut oil 2 to 3 times a day. But most important thing is stop using the disposable diapers. So in that way, I think, and you also heard earlier Dr. Singhal telling us that now with this telecommunication, etc., things can be done. So I think where there is a will, there is a way, and we can always help people if we know the art of communication and if we have compassion.
Absolutely. And Dr. Anand, I completely agree that in these times of crisis, taking people, thought leaders from the same community also helps. If you see from the film industry, it is Salman Khan whose words are now reaching across to all in the minority community also. And I feel that was one of the best speeches that that man has ever given, which to a large extent helped them feel responsible and safe. So I think it's very important that thought leaders from all across society should come forward when these kind of instances are happening. And I think sensitivity of the media is also very important during these crises. So Dr. Arvinder, you are very involved in children's health. Fitter Fry is actually a children's health initiative. So my question to you is, what advice do you have to families to maintain their health during this lockdown? Are there any apps of yours that they can use?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, Swati, I'm worried about you. You are sleeping very late. That's not a good sign. That weakens the immunity. So there are 4 pillars of immunity which we must understand. One is nutrition. Second is sleep. Third is managing your stress, and fourth is your exercise. So we must, manage these 4 pillars. And out of them, if we talk about immunity per se, staying healthy, the food is very important. Dr. Saloni and I was just talking a few minutes back. If we are expecting that the kids will eat junk food and expecting them to be healthy and have a strong immunity, that doesn't work. And whatever is cooked in the family is cooked in the family for everyone. And now to how to make the texture and the feel and the look for the child to be more attractive is the biggest task for the parents when they cook this. But we must understand that immunity will come from the food which you eat. And that needs to have micronutrients. Now the micronutrients which are important for immunity are vitamin C, iron, zinc, vitamin A, protein. These are very, very important micronutrients which should be there in the food. So if you just want to check how healthy is your food, you can go to our website. It's www.fitterfly.com/immunity. You can just put in what you eat throughout the day. It will immediately tell you how good your micronutrients are. And accordingly, you can plan a better nutrition for yourself. So even in this time of lockdown, when people will say, oh, groceries are not available, things are not available, we Indians have enough good foods available in our home.
Yes.
Right from turmeric, right from jeera, right from ajwain, right from seeds which we eat, right from dry fruits. All of those things have all of these micronutrients. We just need to plan our diet better in the time of lockdown so that our bodies are nourished to fight all these bacteria. Second thing which is very important for yourself and for your children is to maintain a routine. Now, me and my wife, we used to go very regularly to gym, but with this lockdown happening, I certainly had a lot of time on my hands. So I started developing extra habits. So I'm trying to become ambidextrous. I write 2 full pages with my left hand every day.
Oh, wow.
It's a difficult task, but I know this is a skill which will be very important for me in the future as a surgeon. It's painful, but I do it every morning. I maintain a diary of what new thing I'm learning every day. I have now 40 lessons for me in the last 40 days, which I've learned new things. It's a time to upgrade myself. And then sleeping on time, enjoying your evenings. But sometimes people just get into the habit of watching Netflix or Prime and all those, they go into binge watching, in which you must realize the world is changed by 1% of the people. 99% of the people are just followers. So you have to decide for yourself whether you're going to be that 1% who creates something new, upgrades himself, does something new, or you're going to be in those 99% who's going to waste this lockdown time. So it's very important that you set your time into innovation, upgrading yourself. That way you'll definitely have a better sleep in the night. Make sure that you go to bed at a proper time. Make sure that even within the house, you do some exercise, some walking. You do there enough number of videos. You can just type 10-minute workout, 15-minute workout in YouTube. These are free videos. You can do that. That will also help you to stay fit and healthy. And of course, these are some of the things which everybody talks about. The biggest thing is writing it in the diary when you get up in the morning that I'll do all these things and hold yourself accountable at the end of the day.
Those are wonderful points. And I have 2 things to add here. One is that you said ingredients may not be available, but the Facebook posts that I'm seeing of some moms, I really wonder where are they getting these ingredients from? And the second thing which I wanted to ask you was, any advice on very simple ingredients for the poor families? See, Anganwadi children right now are missing their midday meals. So for families like that, what suggestion would you give that these are the cheap available things that you can include in your diet?
So I think amla would be easily available at some of the places. You can also sprinkle some lime juice or sweet lime. Even if you sprinkle a little bit of lime on every food, it will increase the iron absorption to double. It will
Okay.
also give you enough amount of vitamin C.
No
And then
wonder my
whatever,
husband is more healthier. He loves to
yeah,
sprinkle lemon.
and whatever green vegetables you can find, and even in this lockdown time, even palak, methi, all these things are easily available. They have enough of vitamin C. They have enough of iron in them, which can really boost up your immunity. So these are the 3-4 things which they can eat. And even our age-old millets like bajra, rajgira,
Right.
they are not expensive at all. And they have enough of iron, they have enough of zinc and even vitamin C, which can help you really boost up your immunity.
Oh,
So
that's
we don't need to go to fancy supplements or fancy foods to really do that. Another thing which they can do is they can use soya granules. They can use bhe, which is lotus stem, which is very rich in iron and vitamin C and zinc. These are not expensive. These can be easily used. And so these and eggs are easily available. Eggs have a lot of vitamin A and vitamin D,
Should
especially
they be
egg yolk.
eating eggs? Because there's this huge controversy. I stopped eating eggs ever since this virus started. How safe are eggs?
Eggs are very safe. They are encased in a very hard shell. You get the eggs, you wash them properly, and you boil them and eat them. No virus will survive that. So egg yolk has a lot of vitamin A,
Yes, I
vitamin
know. I
D,
was on a
zinc.
very heavy egg yolk diet because my
Yeah.
protein was less, and I had to stop it since the last 1 month.
No, if you're
Uh,
boiling the egg and eating, and if you're procuring from a source and then cleaning them, washing them properly after you come home, they're absolutely safe.
okay, so maybe I can restart.
Yeah.
And yes, I'm so happy and thank you, Dr. Arvinder, that you're worried about me. But I think antibiotics is something that is keeping me awake. Is it like that? Antibiotics keep you awake?
So antibiotics can sometimes disturb the gut microflora in a bad way, and that can really impact the hormonal balance in the internal system. And even I had that problem a couple of times when I took antibiotics. So probably
Yeah,
you can
I
take a
see.
probiotic. You can take a probiotic like Vibact or something, one capsule a
Okay.
day. That will really help you regain your flora.
See, now this is called contacting your doctor online. This is a perfect example of that. So
But I
thank
would
you so
strongly
much.
urge all of you to please go to fitterflight.com/immunity and
I
check
use
your
it a lot.
diet and
Yes,
immediately get a report of how your micronutrients are. You can do it for your child, you can do it for
perfect.
yourself, and then just ping us if you want any dietary plan or advice.
Perfect. This is something I would urge all parents and teachers, especially right now, to do it because they are all working from home and trying to juggle so many things together. Dr. Saloni, my question to you is again based on food. Children are eating mostly home food right now because many of the deliveries have also stopped. In fact, there was a very cute video of a child where when the child came to know that only mummy ke haath ka khana padega, the child started crying. That pizza is closed, the Chinese is closed. So the mummy says, yeah,
Yeah.
you'll have to eat only my home food. But my question is that what advice would you like to give moms? Because many of them have started making a lot of sugary stuff so that children eat their food, so that children don't miss their usual fast
Junk.
food. Yeah.
Yeah.
And many of the kids have also started binging on a lot of food. So what
Yeah.
advice would you give them?
So definitely an important thing to look at, especially at a time like this. It's very easy to fall prey to bad eating habits. We, as it is, deal with complaints of fussy eating on a regular basis, which most definitely gets worse at a time like this because you're in lockdown and it's just easier to give in to the child's demands rather than take the time to say, no, this is not the correct way. So my advice to parents would be, I'm a strong believer of a home-based diet. That's what I recommend to my patients all the time. From the time they start, it should start with the khichdi and veggies, and you try and stay away from junk food and fast food, packaged food as much as possible. So this is a good time to fix your child's eating habits and their approach towards food. So with your limited availability, if you teach your child that they should accept everything that's available to them and be grateful for what's coming on the table, the way they approach food and the way they look at food and their mentality towards food will change completely. So this is a good time to actually move them away from binge eating or demanding pizzas and teach them to enjoy eating basic ghar ka khana, which is very tasty, very nutritious, and that's the way children should grow up because that's where your main source of immunity, your macronutrients are coming from. So something as basic as a roti sabzi is something that a child will enjoy to eat with his own hands if we teach them to enjoy that. So what I normally tell my patients is that please don't come and tell me that my child doesn't like this, because the moment I hear those words from you, you've lost the battle. Your child is going to like what you teach your child to like. So take this time to make that extra effort to teach correct eating habits. That's the most important thing.
You know what? I completely agree with you, and I hope more parents learn this, because we have daycares, and we only cook healthy food in our daycares, and we don't use masala or any kind of chilies. And the food is so tasty that the children eat everything that is cooked there.
Exactly.
And the same stuff when the mother feeds them at home, the mother comes to us and say, what magic are you all using? The child is not eating at home. I said, the magic that we are using is that we are telling them very strictly that you have to eat what is on your plate. And that's it. There is no choice given to the child. You know, there are no biscuits that will suddenly be raided by the child in a daycare. So I think this is so important what you've said, that the parents must teach children to respect food. And this is a appeal I'm going to make to the teachers also, that is why at ECA we say that don't use food for art activities, because you are teaching contrary things to children. That on one end you say respect food and don't waste food, and on the other end you are making them stick grains and dals in a rangoli, and that's teaching them very mixed concepts, that should I be respecting it or should I be wasting it, you know. So very valid point that you have made. Rekha, my next question is to you.
I think Dr. Anand wants to say something.
Yes, Dr. Anand.
You see, let me also take the child side. You see, डॉक्टर ये दूध नहीं पीता है, इसको खाली हर वक्त मोबाइल चाहिए. Doesn't drink milk. He only wants mobile all the time. I said, okay. बेटा आपको दूध अच्छा नहीं लगता है? नहीं, I don't like it. I hate it. आपको दही अच्छा लगता है? Oh, I love it. बेटा आज मैं अपने लेटर हेड पे लिखने वाला हूं, आपके पिताजी को माताजी को कहने वाला हूं, आज से आपको दूध नहीं देने का. बच्चा खुश, smile. No, curd is very good. It's not essential that the child must drink milk. Now I have won the child on my side. Now coming to the mobile. अच्छा बेटा, जब शाम को आप लोग सब कोई खाना खाते हैं, तो आपके पापा मोबाइल यूज करते हैं? हाँ करते हैं ना. आप लोग टीवी देखते हैं? हाँ देखते हैं ना. देखो बेटा, आज पापा को बोलना, मम्मी को बोलना कि खाने का टाइम फैमिली का टाइम है, हम लोग मिलके खाएं, खाने को एंजॉय करें, कुछ बातें करें, कुछ हंसना करें, उनको याद कराना. ठीक है? ओके डॉक्टर अंकल, आई विल डू दैट. और सुनिए मिस्टर सो एंड सो, आप रात को जब खाने बैठे टीवी ऑफ, मोबाइल फोन जो है आपका साइलेंट मोड पे दूसरे कमरे में रखिए या किचन में रखिए. जब खाना वाना खत्म हो गया तब जाके देखिए. नाउ दिस इज द वे यू हैव नाउ वन द साइड. नाउ बच्चा सामने है, माता पिता सामने है. आई सेड नाउ आप स्केड्यूल बनाइए सारे दिन का. हमारा ये लड़का लक्ष्मण कितने बजे उठेगा, कितने बजे सोएगा, कितने बजे खाना खाएगा, कितने बजे खेलेगा, कितने बजे मोबाइल देखेगा, कितने बजे टीवी देखेगा. मेक ए स्केड्यूल. फिर उसमें स्ट्रिक्ट रहने का, सब कोई फॉलो करेगा उस स्केड्यूल को. ठीक है बेटा? हाँ डॉक्टर अंकल ठीक है. तो अब याद रखना. तो दिस इज द वे यू विन द चाइल्ड ऑन योर साइड. At the same time, make a point where the child also has a Lakshman Rekha, where there's a lot of love there, but there's a Lakshman Rekha, but certain rules have to be followed, which are in his interest and in the interest of the whole family.
Absolutely. And absolutely, it's very important. I feel कि pregnancy के time mothers और fathers को सिखाना चाहिए कि what are alternative foods. Like you said, milk नहीं पीता है तो दही खिला सकते हैं आप. तो एक ऑल्टरनेटिव फूड स्ट्रैटेजी भी एक डिजाइन कर लेनी चाहिए, आप सीख जानी चाहिए. Because I sometimes feel that parents go for such basic things to pediatricians, and for important things I see them asking these questions to other mothers on Facebook, and I always have to write there, contact your pediatrician for something as important as this, you know. So very valid point, Dr. Anand. What you said was brilliant, and I think even teachers should follow this strategy uh, uh, in giving the right advice to parents and to children. Rekha, you do a lot of work with the police, with this trust that you and Dr. Anand are a part of. During these times, police need a lot of morale boosting, especially when they are facing long hours and so much of disrespect. Tell us about your work in the police in maintaining their morale.
So, Swati, we finished the last training for 210 policemen from Maharashtra on the 13th of March. And from 15th of March, they went back to their different places. And during the period when we were doing their training as a part of public concern of governance trust, the coronavirus had spread and people had started going indoors. So I asked them that, would you all want to go back? So I'll stop the training right here. They said, no, madam, you have been coming every morning. So hum kaise karenge? And we'll finish the training. Now they went back and then their duty started round the clock. So it was a different feeling for their families because they were away from home for 15 days in Bombay at Marol with us in a residential program. When they went back, the children had not met some of them and they had to go right over to duty and all. So my job became to talk to the families now. So I would get calls from the family, the policeman would say, and we were training different levels. So there was a Nayak, there was a constable, there were different people. And for them, because they were younger to me, I became everybody's mom. Then they would say, Rekha mom, please hamare mata ji se baat kijiye. Rekha mom, please mere beti se baat kijiye, because the SSC exams are also going on. The fear factor in these families increased a lot, and we really don't realize it, that they are also human beings like us. They also have children like us. And suddenly I felt that instead of making them compassionate, I had to be way ahead in compassion. And it was a learning experience. There was a lady older than me and I'm trying to console her ki aapka beta hamare liye seva kar raha hai, desh ke liye seva kar raha hai, and please allow him to go. There were children who didn't want to go for their exam because they were scared of their fathers going. And there were ladies, you know, their in-laws. I had to speak to their in-laws. So I think you won't believe we have 3 groups of police where it's like 200 plus. And every morning I will send them a message. Every day I will make 6 or 7 video calls and they make calls. Abhi hum idhar kar rahe hai, and you know, we are safe. And their concern is about me. And I feel so touched that we are looking after each other, but it's a learning for me. I'll be very honest, it's a learning for me. And everybody whom I've got involved, including your husband, has been so very compassionate and sends message to them. And like when for today's session, when I sent a message and I wrote this, that ye jo Dr. Swati Popat hai, wo Pratik sir ki wife hai. And then when they read, we are going to have this discussion, you had to see the excitement that there was somebody thinking about them. Just this poster, you know, that ECA is doing this adds on to them. So it's an ongoing thing and I am so concerned and stressed out because of them. But it's a lovely feeling. They have, and we do quiet time with them. We do silence with them every morning. So they are doing that to keep their sanity. And what else they're doing is writing, because we told them to journal everything every morning. So they got the habit into writing. I have this gentleman from Amravati who sends me a poem every day of his life. And if you don't mind, can I read one?
Yes,
if I can just if I have 1 minute, I'll just see if I can get it. But it's amazing what he writes. And one he's written today, Jeevan Hamara Jaise Ek Upnyas, Chalo Banaye, because they write mostly in Marathi. So they're trying to write in Hindi for me. Chalo Banaye Har Panna Uska Khas. Zindagi Hamare Ban Jaye Itihas. जिसे पढ़ हर किसी को हो अपने पन का एहसास. खुद के लिए जी रहा है हर इंसान, अलग हो अपने जीने का अंदाज. बड़े हमारे माता पिता का सम्मान, हम पर नाज करे हमारी संतान. रक्षक अमरावती ग्रामीण पुलिस.
Wow, wow.
And he's also written a poem on Darling Corona. And Darling Corona, and he's written such a beautiful one in Hindi. And he says, "Ab to bas karo." and बड़े भोले हैं यहाँ के लोग. And he's written आरती उतारेंगे आपकी and सुहाने से निकलकर सारे दुनिया में आप फैल गए हो. सब कहते हैं बेजान हो तुम, फिर कहीं हमारे जान के पीछे क्यों पड़े हो. चारों दिशा में चर्चा है, डार्लिंग करोना अब तो बस करोना.
Absolutely, and they have a poetic side too, and that's what we need to realize, that they are not just policemen, they are humans too, you know.
Yes.
And that's exactly the whole point of what we need to teach everybody during times like this. And Rekha, you must share these poems on your Facebook page so that the listeners also get to read about all that.
Yes.
I have very quick questions because we are running out of time. I have one question for each one of you, so please be very brief because we are running out of time. Number one, Dr. Anand, when schools open, can you give 3 advice that they should keep in mind for the safety of very young children?
First of all, again, my advice is to the parents. For example, in my book on child care, I have written LEAD, L-E-A-D. Make sure your children give unconditional love. Second, E for example. Keep setting the right example. If you want them to brush twice a day, you must brush twice a day. Then accept your child as the child is. ये नहीं कि उसको हमेशा first ही आना है. And then you have the Lakshman Rekha, these for discipline. So पहले तो parents को ये करने का. उसके बाद again, sleeping, enough sleep is very important. And especially now there is a lot of evidence to show that night sleep is more important. कई बार बच्चे सोचते हैं कोई नहीं हम रात को जागेंगे सवेरे सो लेंगे. No, there is a lot of medical evidence to show that night sleep is very important. Parents setting an example. So adequate sleep, exercise, the right time of food, games which children love, parents spending quality time with their children. That is what I expect, whether corona or no corona, this should be all the time happening throughout the year.
Thank you. Thank you. Those are very, very valid points. Dr. Saloni, I heard you talk to Dr. Arbinder before the session about vaccinations, and I think that is prime right now in every parent's mind. What if parents have missed out on a few vaccinations?
Okay, so every vaccination has a catch-up schedule. So for parents who have missed out on vaccinations, there is no reason to stress. There will be a catch-up schedule for every vaccine that's missed out. According to today's guidelines that have been issued by IAP and even the World Health Organization, there are certain essential vaccine programs that we want to keep ongoing to prevent outbreaks of vaccine preventable diseases. So these would be like measles, you have pneumonia vaccines, your primary series vaccines like DPT, etc. These are things you want to do in a timely manner. Of course, times are tough. So the idea is to schedule it beforehand, even if it's delayed slightly, but not delay too much. Vaccines are not an emergency, so you don't have to rush to the doctor as soon as the lockdown opens up to, run and get the vaccines done. It needs to be done in a phased manner. In fact, very important when you're taking a healthy child to the clinic that your appointments are well spaced out. There's no overlap. You most definitely don't want to come in touch with a sick person when you're taking a healthy kid out of the house. So something to discuss with your doctor, be on top of it. So all right, this is the time I have to go get it done. You have enough time to prepare, but no reason to panic whatsoever. The booster doses and vaccines for older children can be postponed easily by 6 months and plus. So that's not an issue at all. So this is primarily for people who have kids who are 18 months and younger.
That's wonderful. I think because this is something that must be playing on the minds of a lot of parents. Dr. Arbinder, my question to you is, we have noticed that this whole coronavirus, children are not getting it that much. I don't know, I'm sure there must be reasons for it. But my question is that, should schools immediately open after the lockdown, or do you feel children should be the last ones to be sent out in the community? What do you advise to the school and the government?
I think all the places where a lot of people collect together, that should be the last places to open. And schools do not involve just the kids attending the school. There's a lot of transport activity involved. There are teachers coming and interacting with these kids and going and meeting them, meeting their family later. And obviously in schools, teachers won't be able to wear a PPE. And then, on top of that, there are grandparents at home. So the longer these, there are chances of these kids interacting with each other, and then, going from the teachers who may be younger and then to the older age. I think children and the school should be the last one to go live. And fortunately, we have enough edtech platforms now, and I think ECA is strongly advocating some of them.
Yes.
So probably schools should be one of the last places to open. That would be
perfect. Rekha, my question to you is, as you know, we have 48 groups of ECA on WhatsApp. And when we became strict with these 48 groups, all talks and fake news and posting of forwards stopped completely in these 48 groups. What advice do you have? Because it's the fake news and these TikTok videos that are actually causing this chaos. What advice would you like to give the audience about forwards and fake news?
My only request is don't forward anything just because you have the time. One. Second, just because you feel that it will benefit somebody, but it will not. Third, we have an app that actually tells us whether it's a fake news or an old news. I'll give you an example of today morning. It has, or the news that is spreading is BMC has asked people to boil water. Then the same person who sent me that news said, sorry, this is 2018 news. So I think we just need to be very careful. And especially where this virus is concerned, let us leave it to the doctors. Let us not be experts in it. Let us leave it to the doctors to decide. And there is so much happening. People are not even reading the forwards which are actually meant for us. They think it's, oh, one more forward, so they just delete it. So my request is that let us rationalize and let's go off WhatsApp for some time. It will not make a difference to our life. And these forwards.
Sundar, who is from Square Panda, just posted a message that we have started that campaign in ECA called Let the Finger Linger.
Yes.
So think before you post anything. I think that is one of the best things that people will have to think about. I will have to wind up this session, but because the points that have emerged from this session are so excellent, we would like to come out with a poster. So I would request all of you all, I'm going to give each one of you a topic which I liked of what you discussed today. If you can send me these points on my email address, we will make a poster of this so that it reaches out to more and more people. Sure. And we will also add your email addresses in that. So Dr. Anand, from you, we would like these points that you gave about what parents should do during these times, like listen to children, have a routine, etc. If you can send us those points, that would be really valuable. So Dr. Saloni, your points on vaccinations are something that are going to be a real help to all parents. So if you can give us more guidelines on that. Dr. Arbinder, immunity-based foods and how to do ed tech, reaching out to doctors. And Rekha, if you can write something about forwards and respecting the police community especially, then we will compile this with your photographs. Mansi is going to take that lead. And we will then send it out to all our 48 territories and on all our social media platforms. So we had Raman who had put a comment, and Raman says that he takes care of all the people who help. But what about my own stress? So Raman, when you are stressed out, I feel think about children. Or try to talk to a child, because children's innocence always lifts your spirits, and it helps bring a smile on your face. And if you are not already on our please write to us at on our Facebook page, and we will contact you. Our website also is something that you can contact and join us in this initiative of bringing the world together for its littlest citizens. So thank you, Dr. Anand. Thank you, Dr. Singhal. Thank you, Dr. Saloni. And thank you, Rekha. And thank you, Mansi and Chandar, for organizing this back end so well. It was a seamless, smooth webinar. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye, Anand sir. Take care. Hopefully, we'll see you
Thank you.
soon after the lockdown.
God bless all of you.
Thank you. Bye, Auntie. See you.
Bye, Vichara.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Dad. See you.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Mansi, thank you.
You're welcome.